Hi, everybody, it's Tim here, and welcome back to that Eurovision site. We are on to the final stretch of the national final season, and one of the countries that are selecting literally in about 24, 48 hours when we record this is Germany, who will be using their, you know what? I don't even know if I can say the name. James, do you even know how to pronounce it?
It would be a Chefsache ESC 2025 Versing für Deutschland, I
There you
think.
go. So yeah, I mean, if you're German, just let us know if James said that correctly, just so I know as well for future reference. But yeah, Germany selecting their representative for Basel literally soon, and I've got lovely James who is from Eurovoix to talk about it. So, shall we get right into it, James?
Let's go for it.
Okay, then. So we have nine artists who are vying for this year's selection, and they are, and I will butcher their names. So, if you already know, then that's my personality trait. And we start with Aborentina with Baller, Benjamin Bratz with Like You Love Me, Cosby with I'm Still Here, First Once, Nightclub, Ulika Empress, Leona with This Bliss, Liza with Lovers on Mars, Moskena with Nothing Can Stop Love, and the great Leslie with These Days. Some, well, very new names to me, but we'll get into that in a minute. But let's start things off with somewhere different, James. Obviously, this is a new selection. Um, which was like, okay, they got in Stefan Raab, who actually bought Germany their win this century.
Of
And
course.
obviously this is like I was a bit okay, interesting that they got him out of retirement for this. But that Germany still continued using national selections ever since he stopped in it was 2012. But what are your thoughts of him coming back and the selection so far, you think?
It's really interesting that they got Stefan Raab back. I remember last year there was an overthinking Eurovision video about Stefan Raab that went into kind of his history. So, his
Mm-hmm.
television production work, his involvement with Eurovision in the past, orchestra conductor in '98, artist in 2000, writer with Max Mutzke in 2004, and then obviously what he's perhaps most well known for, which is producing the national final, which gave Germany Lena and gave Germany the Eurovision crown in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So when he came back, I think there were a lot of Germans who thought, finally, someone who knows how to get us good results. Because let's face it, there's not a lot of those people in Germany, given the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So, so I think there was a lot of excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I think what then changed the perception of Chefsache was when certain comments came out about how confident Stefan Raab was and how confident people within NDR, the German regional broadcaster, were about
Mm-hmm.
Chefsache, saying that anything less than victory would be a failure with this
Mm-hmm.
national final format, which is really strong words and puts a big expectation on your back before you start.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, okay, yeah, you got a very big name, but obviously you got that victory in what, 15 years ago? So
Exactly.
so my brain is like, you do know that, whatever Stefan Raab might have done in 2010 might not always correlate to what's like trending, like, and how the contest is in, because the contest has evolved so much. So you're just wondering there, like, I don't know if you're just being too cocky or just like you're really like you've got that mentality. It's like you're really confident about this.
Stefan Raab's very confident, I think, in
Hmm.
everything that he does. So that's not so much of a surprise. What was a surprise was the strength in which the German broadcasters involved in this, because obviously this is like this unique collaboration between ARD, the German public
Yeah.
broadcaster, RTL, the private, and NDR is the regional one, which is doing ARD's job on Eurovision and has been
Hmm.
for about 30 years now. So the strength of that was surprising. I think the thing with Raab in Germany is that there's two views of Stefan Raab. There's an older demographic in Germany who think that Stefan Raab is genuinely like a Eurovision wizard, and anything he does will just work. So
Mm-hmm.
they'll just think, right, Stefan Raab's involved, we're fine, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Just let's trust what he does. And then I think there's a younger demographic who probably don't have as strong memories as what happened in 2010 and
Mm-hmm.
long before that, because Raab's been involved for a long time, who think, yeah, well, it's been 15 years. And like you say, I mean, Eurovision is completely different now heading to Basel than it was when we were heading to
Mm-hmm.
Oslo.
Yeah.
It's a different contest entirely. So whether the
Mm.
same knowledge applies, I don't know.
I mean, we'll figure out in literally less than 48 hours when this
Exactly.
is. All right, then moving on, because obviously I mentioned the names early on. Your thoughts on the nine vying for the German ticket for Basel?
Well, there were nearly 30 at the start, and
Yeah.
it's been whittled down through this kind of weird, mostly jury process. I think we've lost a lot of people that fans really liked. Cloudy June was one
Mm-hmm.
that people were really annoyed about from the semi-final. We've got a nine though that I think is diverse. There's definitely a couple of options for Germany there, depending on what route they want to go down. So really, it's just to wait and see.
Yeah.
In terms of the strongest, though, I think it's fairly unanimous that the strongest in the Eurovision sense is probably Abel and Tina.
Wow. Okay. Well, for me, like, I will be upfront and say, like, I did not watch the heats. But obviously, I'm chronically online, so I was looking at the comments and they were I do agree with you. I did hear Cloudy June's song and I was like, "Really? You eliminated this?" But you know, it is a
Yeah,
one a 100% jury. That's where I was like, "Okay."
but this is the thing I think that has turned a few of the younger viewers off is this 100% jury approach and maybe the more old school approach of having this jury panel on air. Obviously, Raab is part of that. He gets a lot of
Yeah.
talk time, and there's been the other people on that panel whose names completely escape me at this point, but they've obviously provided their contributions.
Hmm.
And so when you don't get a vote as a public audience member, I think now you feel really cheated. Especially when if a fan favorite of yours goes out in the semi final and you've had no say, that can be really annoying.
I mean, all I can say is that by the time we recorded, the German broadcasters have actually made this public that we can actually have a say on this.
Yes, we will have a say in the
So
final,
we'll
but
have to
up
say in the
until this
final at
point,
least. So you better pray to God that they pick whichever act they pick to get to the second round would would be your favorite, because if not, you're kind of like,
absolutely.
what was
But
the
that's what
point in
throws
that?
this wide open, Tim, because four of these songs are going to get taken out before anyone gets a chance to vote on them, and
Hmm.
effectively that creates the possibility of like people have perceived Cloudy June to be from the semi-final, this kind of
Yeah.
jury killing that will occur before the public really gets to have a say. So that might
Hmm.
affect what the result is. It may be that a big favourite goes out straight away before a vote even happens, and then all bets are off,
Yeah, and then we get more chaos in the timeline. But
as we need.
yeah, but before we move on, you've mentioned a name, but what's your kind of prediction as to who do you think might take it, or who do you think we should look out for come Saturday?
That's a good question. I think in terms of people you would look out for initially, because the first round is going to be jury only, realistically, you're looking at the more jury friendly songs to have a better chance of getting into that last five.
Hmm.
So there are maybe songs like Nothing Can Stop Love by Moss Kenner, which
Hmm.
I don't think is necessarily at the top of most fans' rankings of this lineup. But because it's very jury friendly and also that Moss Kenner's a really established pop artist and has done work
Hmm.
with people like Purple Disco Machine, who've worked with Benjamin Ingrosso, so he has a pedigree there. It wouldn't surprise me if the jury send that through.
Yeah.
Leonora is a song that I think is really jury friendly. This Bliss that might go through to the top five as well.
Hmm.
And then you would worry perhaps about like the Great Leslie or Feuerschwanz or something like that, which is
Hmm.
not as typically a jury song,
Yeah.
but probably have more televote potential. They've got to get
Hmm.
through that first round before they can really feel the benefit of being in the second round.
Yeah. For me, I would say. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I did listen to this lineup today, and I'm just like, I found it really difficult to pinpoint acts because like I said early on, I was looking at social media, and I'm I'm gonna be honest, like usually when I listen to national final entries, I can literally find
Oh
one that's
yeah.
very obvious. But for Germany, like, look, I respect all of the artists and their work on this, but like it comes down to who selected what, and I'm just like I'm finding it hard to visualize who can go further and combine that with Stefan Rob's a bit overconfident. I'm finding it really difficult
I mean,
to like,
let's like address the elephant in the room. Are
yeah,
Germany going to win Eurovision with one of these nine songs? No. Let's just get that out of the way. There is
yeah,
not a winning Eurovision contender. If we're putting this on the pedestal of, is there an Erika Vickman, is there a Mons Zelmerlöw, is
no,
there a Luan or a Claude
mhm,
potentially? No, I don't think
no,
there is. But
yeah,
there are a few
mhm,
songs in this lineup that could do reasonably well if
yeah,
if done right, and they've got
yeah,
options.
yeah. But my looking at my prediction, I would say, I'm gonna be different to you. I would say Cosby. I'm still here. I don't
I
know
like
what,
Cosby, yeah.
yeah, I don't know what it is about. I think it's just because it's so, I think like it's still, there's still that, emotional like closeness to it, but it was more of like, I think it could be jury friendly. It's got that fine balance. And if the jury sees like if sees what the hell's going on, kind of like they did in Estilao,
Hmm.
um, first ones.
Yeah, I think both are potentially going to be in the race. Cosby is, like you say, a very well balanced song. It's kind of
Yeah,
got a little bit of a pop punk feeling without being too much. I really like the way it's
yeah.
sung. So overall, I think that would be a perfectly nice entry. I don't think
Mhm.
it would be, and this might sound weird, but I don't think it will be offensive in the right ways. Like it won't stand out massively,
But
which
yeah.
might not help when it comes to a grand final, though, if we're looking that
Mhm.
far forward. But it would be a nice entry. Feuerschwanz would definitely be more notable and would make
Yeah.
more of an impression if it went to Eurovision. But then obviously it might turn a few viewers off. I mean, you remember Blood and Glitter 2 years ago. A
Yeah.
lot of us thought it would do brilliantly. I mean, we were all saying it was a top 10 and then it ended up last. So that can be a high risk move, sending like a big rock. So I mean, even Gorta last year fell out of that. So high risk, high reward.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be, but also I also think that it would be depending how they stage this in Basel. Like I think we already had a kind of like a sneak peek last week, but it was more of
Hmm.
like if they get to Basel, how would they adapt it to suit the audience? But we'll see. We'll look into that when we get there and when they
Yeah, I
selected it.
think absolutely.
Okay, so let's look at the final uh topic that I want to discuss in this video. And it's that basically obviously Germany, has had a variety of selection methods throughout the
Hasn't
years.
it just?
I mean like, few national finals there then. They tried internal but didn't get to it because of a little thing that has happened in 2020. Um but now comparing the selection this year, how do you think they fared this time around? Just comparing it to, what they've done previously, because obviously,
Yeah. I mean, I
it's
have to give a layered answer to that question because
yeah.
because I don't think it's as simple as a yes and no. I think in the main way, which is the strength of the lineup and the strength of the songs that could give Germany a good placing at Eurovision, Chefsache is an improvement on Das
Mhm.
Deutsche Finale by some distance. There's a good diversity of songs in this lineup. Whatever they send, they've got an option, I think. With Cosby, they've got a pop rock option. With Feuerschwanz, they've got the metal option. With Abel and Tina, I think they've got a proper pop option, which would
Mhm.
do well on radio, and particularly around Germany and around countries near there, including Switzerland, where we're going.
Mhm.
So there's multiple options there. I don't think in the past, certainly in the Das Deutsche finales of the past few years, it's been a less diverse lineup. It's been
Yeah.
more dominated by what people on German radio wanted. It ended up being very sterilized. We had Emma Roberts' soap. So,
Please, I'm trying to forget about the soap and actually
try
no,
not
that
to
actually
flinch.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, she also forgot the lyrics. I was like,
It's one of my favorite moments in the history of watching Eurovision, by the way, is Emma Roberts just forgetting the lyrics.
Yeah.
Bless her. But I think it's an improvement on that front. The one issue I would raise, though, is that this format has been very muddled and very confused, and I'm not
Mhm.
sure what Chefsache even really wants to be. We've had this cover song thing go on in the first two heats. I mean, okay, but whether that's relevant for Eurovision, I don't know. There's a
Mhm.
jury panel on there, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Fundamentally, I don't really see the point of jury panels in national finals. I think they're a little bit redundant. So I'm not sure where that's come from. And then the fact that a public vote isn't being introduced until halfway through the final itself, where you've already taken four songs out. And then it's an international vote as well. So, from a German perspective, their thoughts might get drowned out by international fans coming in and voting for
Yeah.
what they want. So suddenly, Germany might end up with a song that nobody really wanted, apart from maybe Stefan Raab and a few of us international
Yeah.
Eurofans who'll vote on this.
Oh my
It's a bit
God.
weird.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that one. It's just because I think we're at a point where Germany is just like, you got that high of 2010, and after that, they just seem to have struggled to like
Oh, exceptionally.
find a rhythm. Like,
And I understand why they've gone back to Raab. I
mm,
really, really do, because nothing else has really worked like long
yeah.
term. And, everything Raab has touched at Eurovision has genuinely worked.
Hmm.
So I get going on the nostalgia trip. And I don't even think there's necessarily an issue with continuing this format, if they win, which they claim they'll have to continue the format. But if they did, then, they could make improvements to
Yeah.
it and it would be fine. I think there's genuinely like a base for Germany to build on here.
Hmm.
But they have to get out, I think, of the idea that they can win Eurovision now. It's not going to happen this year, and unless a miracle happens, it's probably going to happen next year or the year after. What they've got to do is build a foundation where you're getting good artists
Hmm.
into national final. You're working with good songwriters, you're getting in good staging people, and you're building a national final, kind of like how Finland have done in the last few years. They've built up a
Hmm.
really solid national final now, and Sweden have had for a long time, and
Yeah.
Italy, in almost the complete opposite way, have this kind of solid thing going on.
Mhm.
So I think they just need to do that because Germany can have great results in Eurovision. There's nothing to stop them. It's just I think they need to stop worrying so much about winning. Just be good. If they finish
Yeah.
on the left hand side of the board, it's a brilliant success, much like last year, and everyone should be happy with that.
Yeah, and that's also what I was that's also one of the point. I was like, they were on a, I think they were starting to like go on a trajectory when, and they said
Yeah,
I don't know. Look, they could have stuck with it, but I don't know what made them say, you know what, like, I mean, they were like what, left hand side of the scoreboard
yeah,
In
they were
Malmö.
13th in
Yeah.
Malmö,
And
just on the left hand side.
yeah, no, and I was just like, okay, he could have improved that, but I get why they wanted to go with Rob, but it is the last year where the current arrangements are in place because they're moving to a new broadcaster come
They
20,
are, yes,
yeah,
SWR.
2026. So do you think that maybe moving into a new broadcaster would be like moving forward? Do you think that'll be a help to Germany, you think? Or is it
Moving
more?
forwards is a phrase I'd probably say moving sideways.
Yeah.
I think a new broadcaster can always bring new ideas, but fundamentally, these regional broadcasters, because Germany works differently to pretty much
Yeah.
everyone else, are not going to be able to do a massive amount differently because
Mhm.
fundamentally they are under the ARD and they are making the show for Das Est.
Yeah.
So there isn't going to be as big of a change as maybe, let's say in the UK, ITV suddenly took over
Yeah.
Eurovision. That would be a colossal change. Not so much in Germany if it happens with
Yeah.
the regional broadcasters. But hey, if they've got passionate people and they want to do something like this again,
Hmm.
and they want to even bring Raab in, perhaps if he still feels up for the fight,
Yeah.
then great. I'd say go for it because this has been, I think, an improvement. I just think they've got to iron out some things about this format before they can say it's been like an unmitigated success.
Hmm. All right, then. Well, only time will tell. We might be saying things now and might be eating our words come May
Yes, eating
17.
eating our wurst.
I mean, we are gonna do that
I know,
anyways.
Conchita's there. That's proper star power. That's a good little gig booking there.
Yeah. Okay, then one final question based on the lineup. And we don't know who is getting sent. Where do you think Germany will place in Basel? Because obviously they're going to be
With
straight into
no, no,
final.
obviously we don't know.
Yeah,
I think they won't come last. I don't think they'll come last this year. But if I'm having to go law of averages, I think the highest they're going to go is around where Isaac was. That's
yeah.
probably the best they can hope for. So I would say about 20th.
Wow.
That's where I would say.
Oh, do I dare to be brave? Um, I might say about th I might say they might equal Isaac. I think that might be a bit of a brave
Yeah, I think that's
prediction.
possible, but they
Yeah.
have to pick the right song and stage it right.
Yeah, I'll stick on that, and then if you're all on social media and you can come grill me come May 17 and you're just like, aha, Tim got it wrong.
We'll find out in Basel,
Yeah,
won't we?
we'll
That's
find
the
out in
joy of it.
Basel. But yeah, less than 48 hours to go until Germany selects for Basel. What do you guys think? Who do you think Germany will select to be their representative? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, push the notification bell to be one of the first people to find out when we have a new video. Also, don't forget to follow that Eurovision site at that Euro site on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. And also, James is from Eurovoix, so support Eurovoix. And where can we follow you, James?
You can follow me personally on Twitter and Blue Sky at James Makes Stuff, which is what I do usually. And if you want to listen to the stuff I do make, then best to go to Eurovoix's website, which is of course eurovoix.com. That does all of the Eurovision news, of course. And if you want to listen to a podcast that does all of those news in an audio format, where I speak at you with this voice, and other people do as well, then you should listen to the Eurovoix podcast, which comes out every Monday from now until the contest in Basel.
All right, then. Well, will we be right? Will we be wrong? We'll find out soon. Thanks very much, James. And,
Thank you, Tim.
we'll see you guys in the next one.